You ever been trying to get something done, but there's this constant narrator in your head? It's replaying yesterday's meetings or maybe stress testing tomorrow's worries. That endless internal monologue is exhausting, and it can absolutely destroy your productivity. So, let's get into it. Let's figure out how to quiet that noise and get back in the driver's seat. Pink Floyd absolutely nailed it with this lyric, right? It just perfectly captures that feeling we've all had. That weird split where we're observing our own thoughts, almost like they belong to somebody else. It's like your own mind has been hijacked. So, what is really going on here?
Okay, first things first. It's really important to get that this isn't some personal flaw or weakness. This is a common human condition. It's what the writer Eckhart Tolle calls the disease of being totally controlled by our own thinking.
What's so powerful about this idea is that Tolle isn't saying the mind is the bad guy. Not at all. He's saying it's a tool, like a hammer. A hammer is fantastic for building a house, but you wouldn't want it just swinging around on its own, smacking you in the head. Well, the problem starts when the instrument takes over the show. And what does this actually look like in our day-to-day lives? Well, it's getting stuck in an argument just because your ego needs to win. It's losing an entire afternoon replaying some mistake you made last week. Or it's being so paralyzed with anxiety about a future project that you can't get any of the actual work done. Every single one of these is the mind using you, just draining your focus and your energy. So if being completely lost in thought is the problem, what's the solution? Well, the antidote that's being proposed is a really simple but incredibly powerful concept: learning to live in the now. Tolle's work, especially this book, kind of blasted the idea of present moment awareness into the mainstream for millions of people. The whole argument is that the only place we ever truly exist is right here, right now, and that's where our real power is. Now, here's the crucial point. This is not about turning your brain off or becoming some kind of zombie. It's the exact opposite, actually. It's about becoming more alert, more intensely aware. It's having the skill to just watch that stream of thoughts go by without getting swept down the river with it. Okay, that all sounds great in theory, right? But how do do it? Let's walk through a few really practical techniques. This simple three-step process is a fantastic place to start. First, just notice a thought. That's it. Second, take a mental step back and realize, wait a minute, I'm not that thought. I'm the one noticing the thought. And in that tiny moment of noticing, boom, you're present. You've just created a little bit of space between you and all that mental noise. If that feels a little too abstract, try this. Use your senses as an anchor. Think of these as your gateways to the now. I mean, you can't breathe in the future, right? You can't feel the chair you're sitting on in the past. Your senses only exist right now. So by simply shifting your focus to the feeling of your breathing or the sounds in the room, you are physically pulling your attention out of that chaotic mess of thoughts and planting it firmly in the present moment. And you know what? This isn't just some philosophical idea or a self-help gimmick. This is a real, measurable shift in your brain activity that science is now starting to understand and even put numbers to. Okay, let's break this down, because it sounds complicated, but it's not. Think of the default mode network, the DMN, as your brain's autopilot storyteller. It's the part that's humming along when you're daydreaming, worrying, or replaying conversations. When you're overthinking, your DMN is in overdrive. And scientists call the result high cognitive entropy, which is basically a fancy term for mental chaos. But when you shift into presence, that DMN activity quiets right down, and all that chaos is replaced with a sense of order and focus. And believe it or not, this isn't just a metaphor anymore. Scientists can actually measure it. They use these incredibly complex formulas, like this one, borrowed from physics and information theory, to put a number on the amount of noise or chaos in your brain patterns. It's a way to actually quantify the difference between a scattered mind and a focused one. And the results? They're pretty staggering. Studies on people who are trained meditators show that they can reduce the high-frequency brain activity that's tied to this mental overload by up to 40%. That is a huge shift in brain function, and it's achieved just by changing your relationship to your thoughts. But all of this, it brings up a really important question. If we're trying so hard to silence the mind, does that mean the mind is our enemy? Let's look at a critical counterpoint to this whole idea. So first, let's just be super clear on Tolle's main point. He says the fundamental mistake we all make is identifying with our mind. We think that we are that voice in our head. He calls that the delusion. But then you have critics like Stefan Vusak who push back on this, and they push back hard. He argues that our mind is absolutely essential. It's where our memories live, our hopes, our plans for the future. To try and shut that down, he says, is basically to ignore life itself. This alternative perspective sees life more, well, like a tapestry. Our past isn't just noise to get rid of, it's the thread that gives us our memories and our context. Our future isn't just a source of worry, it's the direction we're trying to weave toward. From this point of view, a full life isn't about isolating the present moment, it's about understanding how the past, present, and future are all beautifully woven together. So, who's right? Is the mind a tyrant we need to overthrow, or is it an essential part of who we are? As is so often the case, the most useful answer is probably somewhere in the middle. It's about finding the right balance. And this, right here, is the key takeaway. The goal is not to win some kind of war against your mind. It's to change your relationship with your mind. To start seeing it not as your master, but as a seriously powerful tool that you are in charge of. And Tolle himself actually clarifies this point perfectly. The real aim is to get to a place where you can pick up the tool of thought, use it with laser focus for practical things, and then put it down when you're done, returning to a state of inner calm and quiet. So let's be crystal clear about this. This is not about becoming thoughtless. It is about ending the involuntary, the compulsive, internal chatter, that background static that serves no purpose except to create stress and kill your productivity. It's about taking back your mental energy for the things that actually matter to you. And that leaves us with one final question to think about. As you go about your day, just take a moment here and there to notice that voice in your head and ask yourself, in this moment, who's in charge?